If you open up DaVinci Resolve Fusion and immediately panic at the complexity, this video will be the ultimate cure, because today we will simplify the node-based workflow so that you can build complex, industry-standard effects without fear. This is the first episode in a new 10-part series I will be starting on the basics of the Fusion page, and if you watch the end of the series, you will automatically be ahead of 90 to 95% of people just starting to learn DaVinci Resolve. And today we will be going over the node workflow, the general interface, input and output, media in and media out, and so much more. So be sure to watch the end to find out everything. And what we're going to do first is not panic at the complexity that is the Fusion page, especially if you're learning it for the first time here. We are going to tackle this one by one and conquer the features that actually matter to you, not just going over everything briefly and then eventually not even like explaining ourselves. Like, if you watch those videos, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. And when you first open the Fusion page, you may realize that it is quite different than the edit page, and that is because instead of making things in stacks and blocks, you are using a node-based workflow. And so what a node-based workflow is that I like to imagine it as a factory line. We have like the products, you might like box it up and then put tape on the box and then ship it out. Those are like 4 different steps. But in each step, you're adding something new slowly over time until eventually you have the finished product. And that's how I like to imagine the Fusion page. With the nodes, for example, you might start with a media in, then a transform, then a merge node with text, and then finally your media out. And for some of you, like, you may have no idea what I just talked about, and that's okay. That's what we're going to be explaining today, and you will kind of understand that factory line analogy as we get into the node workflow. So we're going to start by adding in a media out here. So we're going to press shift space, and what you can do is we can type in media, and then it should be right here, media out right here. You can either like use the arrow keys to select something, or just hover over it with your mouse and then either press add or click enter. And that way it'll add, I don't know why I just added a second one right now. Maybe because I rehearsed doing this video beforehand, but you might see that it's going to open up the media pool, since obviously now we have a automatically created Fusion composition right here in the edit page. So that's why a timeline 1 appeared in the media pool. We can just close that because we won't be worrying about having media in the media pool. So what the media out is that's going to be your final product that you are going to create, and whatever is in your media out is going to show up in the edit page. Now there is such thing as a media in, obviously, but that is going to be something we are going to be worrying about in the next episode. But basically what your media in is just like different files. Maybe it's an image, maybe it's a video. That's what your media in is going to be. But we're going to be worrying about that in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. But basically what the media out is going to be is it's going to be your final product, and that's simply what it is that it's your final thing. It's going to show up. I already said this, of course, but it's your final, like, this is the big thing that you're going to be worrying about. And always you got to make sure you're going to be having an input to output on the media out. But the next thing we're going to discuss is these kind of windows right here that we have at the top. If you were to open up the Fusion page already, the inspector might already be open, but if you don't have it open, we're going to open it and click this little button to have it all the way down, just like that. And you can see we click on the media out. There's, of course, some of the things. Of course, we're going to be going into scripting obviously today, so we don't have to worry about like adding in scripts to the media out. But that inspector page is pretty similar to the inspector page in regular DaVinci Resolve editing, especially if we were to create other nodes, and you'll see that in a bit. So we're going to start by adding in a background node by pressing shift space and then BG, which I just did real quick. Now we have our background node in here. You can click and drag it around. Same with the media out for organization purposes. And of course, another way to add in nodes is just by going up to what's called the toolbar. I like to call it the hotbar. But in your hotbar, you can drag in a background node as well, and that's another way you can do that. And what the hotbar is like the most commonly used nodes in DaVinci Resolve. These are what people use the most, and what you will probably use the most when you get into creating advanced fusion compositions later in this series. But obviously, you have the background symbol right here on the left, and you can drag in a background, but we're gonna delete that. So right now you should just have the background and the media out. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be dragging what's called the output, and outputs are highlighted by these little squares right here, and you can drag the output by clicking on it, and this little line will appear. And we are going to move this little line over to the little triangle, and the little triangle are the inputs of the node. And so you can either drag an output to an input. You aren't gonna have an input to an output, because obviously it shows up red, like no, you're not supposed to do that. And you can't drag an input to an input, obviously, because then it'll just form this, which is not what we want. And I'll explain why that's a problem later in the series when we discuss like common bugs and misconceptions. So we're gonna have this background node, and we're gonna drag the output to the input normally, as people should be doing. So if you are having a problem, or it might show up as like media out doesn't have something imported, something similar to that error message, you just gotta double check that your last node output is connected to the media in's input, and it'll look like this. It'll have a square at the start and then the media out. And so how do we look at this? How do we see the media out in the Fusion page? Because obviously right now you may have nothing on your screen, or you may already have the background on the screen. Depends on what you did first in here. But in order to get things on your two viewports, is that you can click on the node you want to see on your viewport, and by press 1, or you can press 2. And so you can have the same thing on both of your viewports at the same time, and then you can click on this middle line right here, and then you can change the size of the viewports. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't usually keep it perfect, so don't worry about having like precisely aligning the things to be like kind of like equal. Honestly, that looks weird, and it's hard to tell the difference between them. So that's why I like to have it kind of like a little unequal. But we can press 1 or 2 again to make it hide, just like that. So let's keep media out on the first viewport by just pressing 1. And you can also see right here, it'll have like these 2 buttons on the bottom that'll show you if it's on a viewport or not. So that's basically how you get things on the viewport. Now let's click on the background node, and we can see we have different things in the inspector page, obviously, because we can change the settings of our background, which has way too many buttons than you would probably use. Obviously, that you need to worry about, of course, like with height, pixel, aspect, things that don't really matter right now. What we're gonna do is just worry about changing the color of this background to have a little unique color onto it. But before we get into that, I want to tell you guys about this new community I'm creating on Discord. It is a Discord server called Locked Editors, and what we're going to be doing on it is I created it for new people to DaVinci Resolve, or just new editors in general, to help you enhance your skills, get clients, and eventually get a job through editing. And that's my goal of that server, is to help you learn DaVinci Resolve specifically and help you on your editing journey. So if that's something you're interested in and you have a Discord account, be sure to join that server. I have the link in the description. So if you do like free things, because being in this server is completely free, and I'm also looking into creating effects and linking you to free DaVinci Resolve effects and plugins, things like that, for completely free, obviously. Be sure to join that and be one of the first OG members in that server and claim your spot before everybody else. So I hope to see you there. Again, click the link in the description to join the Discord community. Now let's get on with the video. So in the background node, we're going to go back up to here, up to color, and we are going to obviously this is where you change the color. If you've never used a color panel before, I'll simply explain it. This right here is where you have the whites, the blacks, and then you can adjust it all the way up to have like the highest hue to the darkest hue, and then the lightest. And then over here you have the hue toggle where you can change the color, obviously, on the spectrum. And then right here is the alpha, so you can set it to be like partially transparent, or you can set it to be like fully covering the theme. So all I'm gonna do is just like mess around with this, get some unique color combination. There you go, look at that. That's a nice little green, pretty similar to my green colors that I use for the channel branding. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna have the hue saturation value and then all the other things right here. If you do want to have like the exact same color as I am, but you guys can set this to, of course, whatever color you want, just for the sake of the tutorial. So now that we have that, we can go back to the edit page and we can see that on our default Fusion composition, we have a color right here. And by default, the Fusion composition is about like 5 seconds, I think. Last time I checked, but again, this will be automatically created by DaVinci Resolve if you don't already have a Fusion composition in your timeline, and we can, of course, go here and export it. And that's it. You guys have just created your very first Fusion composition in DaVinci Resolve. Now, I hope this has been a help to you guys. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications, so that you can be notified when the next episode of the series comes out. Because trust me, we will be going really in depth to the Fusion page, and I really think you guys will enjoy the knowledge I have to share with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.